What's up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? Okay, that was all right. This is Elevate Weekend. How y'all doing tonight? Come on. Yes, I like to hear it. How many of you guys are excited for this weekend? Y'all ready to have a good time? Okay, that was like, all right. Maybe tomorrow morning you'll be like more awake and better. Like, I hope you're ready to have a good time. I'm ready to have a good time with you guys this weekend. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Ryan Ortego, and some of you might recognize the last name because my dad is the pastor here at Scotts Hill. Y'all call him Pastor Phil. I call him Pastor Daddy. And he is my dad. I grew up here in Wilmington, for those of you who don't know my story, and was here for a long time, grew up going to student ministry in the same exact room as you. So I know what it's like to be here for Elevate Weekend, so pumped, so excited. And when Tucker called me up and asked me, he's like, Ryan, do you want to come back and speak at Elevate Weekend? I was like, are you kidding me? Let's go. Come on, dude. I love Tucker. He's awesome. We go way back. Tucker and I have been friends for a long time. In fact, so long, Tucker is the first person to ever introduce me to Instagram. That's interesting. Yes, that far back. Some of you were like, Instagram's been a thing since I've been alive. And I'm like, it wasn't for me. In fact, I was like scrolling back to look at Instagram and like see the first few photos, and I found this is one of my first photos on Instagram of Tucker and the Jimmy. Tucker the Jimmy. Yeah! Y'all don't know anything about the Jimmy. That car, we've had some adventures in that car. It was fun. So the Jimmy was great, Tucker was great, and as I was scrolling back, I realized, man, I've been friends with Tucker for a long time. Like, we've been on a lot of adventures and a lot of journeys together through life. Like, most of our journeys probably looked like this next photo, like illegally skateboarding in places where we shouldn't, right? Like, Tucker's all blurred out because I didn't want the cops to find him. Illegally skateboarding, but some of our adventures were more serious. Like this photo, me literally seeing your boy Tucker Kelly graduate from high school. Let's go. Can we get snaps and claps for that? Snaps and claps? Yeah, I like it. Fun fact, I transported Tucker Kelly safely, drove him, whipped it on over to his graduation with him in the back seat, and I got him there safe. So, Andrea, Kelly, we got you. We got him there safe. It was great. But then we kind of progressed in our life, and Tucker grew up a little bit, and then we just started looking like twins because we hung out so much. So this was just like our life. This is kind of just what happened to us. It was great. We love it. Tucker and I have been friends for a long time. I love him, and I love the team here. And not just Tucker. Tucker's like put a lot of work into this, but like the whole team here, Stephanie and Christian and Caleb and Lindsay, all of them have put so much time and thought. And all of your volunteers, like, yes, can we just hear it for all of them right now? Let's go. You're not clapping loud enough because they are literally staying with all of you tonight. Like, they are staying in a room with you, and you're going to keep them awake. Make it louder noise for your volunteers. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, you know that's right? This weekend, it takes so much work, and it takes so much prayer and preparation, and the team has prayed really hard over this weekend in particular, asking God what he wants to say and what he wants to do over the next couple days. And as we've talked about it and unpacked it, we really believe that God has something special for you in the next 2 days. We believe that God wants you to know something really important, that God actually has infinitely more for your life than you could ever imagine. God has infinitely more for your life. He wants to do more in you and through you and around you than you could ever imagine for yourself. So over the next couple days, we're going to unpack that a little bit. We're going to dive in a little deeper. Are y'all ready for it? Are y'all ready to dive in? Good. Half of you are there. So if you got it, like we're gonna kick it off with this. Ephesians 3:20, a guy named Paul actually says this. He says, never doubt God's mighty power to work in you. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. And he uses this word that we've translated more. He says the word more. But what comes to mind whenever you think of the word more? What are some things you think about when you think about the word more? Freedom. Love. Money. More money, more problems, right? Food. Yo, girl, I'm with you. Let's be honest, right? When I think of more, I think about food because all of life is about food. If you really break it down, like all of life is like, where the food at though? You know what I mean? Like I need to eat. Your boy need to eat. Like, when I think about food, when I think about more, I think about this image right here. Yes. Any Golden Corral fans in the house? Load me up on that cheap little paper steak. You know what I mean? Like, yes, more. Or maybe you're not the Golden Corral type. You're like, I'm more into breakfast food, and this is what comes to mind when you think of more? Yeah. Any of you guys get in on that? $5 for unlimited. You did? Was it worth it? Is it worth it? Let me work it. No, it wasn't worth it. It's never worth it. There's nothing about wet like sweetbread. That's just wet sweetbread. That's all that is. It's not that good. But for me, more recently, I haven't been to IHOP or Golden Corral in a long time, but I did recently go on a cruise. Any of you guys ever been on a cruise ship before? Because if you want to talk about more, you want to talk about more, you get on a cruise ship, you get that soft serve ice cream. It's just like you just camp out at the machine. You're like, you know what I mean? It's like I want that soft serve ice cream in my life every single day. You know what I mean? I want it. But like it's like buffets for days. This is kind of like the image that reminds me of a cruise ship buffet line. That's disgusting. That makes me never want to eat shrimp again. I think it's shrimp. I don't know. I'm not trying to get in it. But when you think about more, you think about all these different things. Golden Corral and IHOP and cruise ships. And it's like, oh, cool, more. And it's easy, like you kind of go to these places and you get more food and they're all like, we're going to give you more food than you could ever want to imagine. And then you get there and you taste the food and you're just like, it's fine. I'll get some more ice cream though. The ice cream's just okay, but I'll eat some more. It's like we just load up on just okay things whenever we talk about more food in those situations. And I think with that sort of lens, we can understand Paul's words in a way that he never really meant it. I think it's easy for us to read a verse like, never doubt God's mighty power to do infinitely more than your greatest request. We just think like, oh, cool, Jesus is going to do more like just okay things in our lives. He's going to add more things to our life. He's going to give us more things that we can look to or go to or have for a better life. But really when Paul is using this word more, he's not saying that Jesus is here to give you more in your life. More things to do or more things to have. He's actually saying Jesus comes to give you a totally different, better quality of life. The word more actually translates to mean superior or more and greater than everything else. Jesus comes into your world, into your life, not just to give you more things to do, more tasks, more church events to go to, or Bible passages to read, or songs to learn to sing. He gives you something better than you could ever imagine in your life. Better than you could ever expect. Better than you could ever imagine. Have you ever experienced something better than you ever expected? Have you ever gotten something better than you ever expected? It'll blow your mind. It's amazing. For me, we all have a story of when it happened, but when I was a sophomore in high school, any sophomores in the house? Where my sophomores at? 10th grade, whoop, whoop, come on. Get that license, whip it around, drive. You know what I mean? When I was in 10th grade, I was getting my driver's license because I was one of the oldest people in my grade. And I remember I was in 10th grade. It was the most exciting time of my life. I was trying to drive everywhere. Mom's like, I need stuff from the grocery store. I'm like, I got you, Mom. I will drive to that grocery store and I will get whatever you need by myself because I'm a man and I can drive. And my dad would be like, hey, I need to pick up this thing from this place. And I'm like, Dad, I don't care where you need me to go or what you need me to get. I'll get it because I can drive by myself. I'm a man. They're like, hey, Leslie needs to go to soccer practice. I don't really want to take Leslie to soccer practice, but I will drive you there. My sister, I'll take you there because I can drive by myself. You know what I mean? You just get that feeling I'm trying to drive. And then my dad, all of a sudden one day, he's like, Ryan, I'm about to go to the store or go get some work done on my car. And would you want to come with me? Would you want to drive me there? And I'm like, yes, thank you. Come on, get me in the driver's seat. Anything, I would do anything to get behind the wheel of the car. So my dad puts me in the car, lets me drive. We go out there. I'm like, it's the best day of my life. I'm blasting K-Love in the car. I'm like, come on, Jesus, freedom. I'm loving it. It's great. We get to the place where Dad gets his work done, to the dealership, we pull in, and we start like riding around. I'm just like lost in driving this car. I'm like, this is the best day of my life. I love driving a car. And Dad's like looking around at all the trucks, and he's just like, what do you think about that one? That one looks cool. It's got a cool bed on the truck, lots of doors. And then we drive up to it, he gets out, he's looking at it, and I'm still like lost in my imagination, like, drooling. And I'm driving in my mind, even though we're parked. And Dad's like, yeah, I think I'll take that truck. And all of a sudden, something in my head goes off. I'm like, what? You don't just randomly decide to buy a car. Like, this is a decision you need to make, Dad. And I'm just like not even processing what's happening. And while I'm still waiting, Dad just tosses me the keys. He says, here you go. To the car that I was just driving, the car that I was just like, I just want to drive for a few minutes and get there. 20 miles, I did it, Dad. And he's tossing me the keys to the car. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is better than I imagined. I'm losing it. I run around, I'm jumping up and down, I go hug him. I might have kissed him for all I know, but I was freaking out, losing my mind. I drove the car home, and it was just like unbelievable moment of like, all I wanted was to sit in the driver's seat behind the wheel and drive Miss Daisy. And then get out and give the keys back to my dad. But now the car is mine. Now I have the keys to the whole dang car. Are you kidding me? It was crazy. But I think that story in my life is a lot like what Jesus wants to do for the rest of us, for each and every one of us, where we have this dream or this desire or this need in our heart, and Jesus sees it, and he's like, oh, you want those things? I'm going to do even better. More and greater, something far superior to just driving the car for 20 miles. I'm going to give you the whole car. He wants to do that for your life. That's what we're going to explore over the next few days together. That God sees us and he hears us and he does infinitely more than we could imagine. So let's get rolling. We're going to talk tonight about a God who wants to capture our attention. So if you got a Bible, you can flip over to Acts chapter 3. Just flip over to Acts chapter 3. That's where we'll start. And while you're flipping over to Acts chapter 3, I'm going to give you some background. All right, this is the time in the Bible where Jesus, he's walked around on the earth. He's done all the miracles, all the signs, all the teaching, all these awesome things. And then he was crucified. 3 days, he was dead, and then he rose from the dead. He visited his friends and his followers and people who believed in him, and he told them, he's like, hey, I'm going to have to peace out soon and go be with my dad in heaven, but I'm going to leave you my Holy Spirit, my Spirit to live inside of you. Jesus says, I'm going to give this to you. In this point, he had just given his Spirit to all these people. All these people were now living with the same spirit and power that Jesus had. And all of a sudden, this amazing thing starts to happen all around the world where people start to follow Jesus because of his followers telling them about this new way. And Peter and John, two of our main characters, they were two of Jesus' closest friends. And they are strolling around Israel, telling people about this Jesus who came, died, resurrected, and is showing people a new way. And in verse 1 it says, on one day, Peter and John were going up to the temple at the time of prayer at 3 p.m. And a man who was lame from birth, he was crippled from birth, was being carried to the temple gate, where he was put every day to beg from those who were going into the temple courts. And when he saw Peter and John about to enter, he asked them for money. I want to clarify a detail, because I don't think we have a lot of context for this in our day. But at this point in time, you couldn't be a computer programmer. You couldn't design websites. There was no Instagram influencers, okay? Our crippled man had no way of making money. All the jobs would have been like manual labor. No legs, no manual labor. And no job meant no money. And no money meant no food. And no food meant death. You would die if you don't eat. That's this man's scenario. Right? He's like, all he's got is just hoping for people to see his little bucket that he's holding out and to throw some nickels and dimes in it so he can go to the store and get some bread. Like, that's all he's hoping for. He's just posting up at the temple gate like, all right, guys. He's just staring at his bucket, hoping people drop something in. If you find more people, you get more money. So he goes to the temple, right? Everyone is going to the temple. The temple was like the center of the city. Everyone's going by. And not only that, he knew that if you went to the temple, he's like, oh, you people love God? All right, you people love God, you're going to give me money. You know what I mean? You love Jesus, you're going to give me some pennies. Like, he was hoping for those people to be a little bit more generous than maybe the rest of the people in town. So he shows up, posts up, and hopes for a little bit of change. He hopes for a little bit of money to drop into his bucket. He was depending on other people's nickels and dimes to support his life. But this one day, it was different. Something about it was different. Instead of just getting some nickels and dimes and other change in his bucket, he experiences something else. In verse 4, it says that Peter looked straight at him, as did John. And then Peter said, look at us. So the man gave them his own attention, expecting to get something from them. If you got a Bible and a pen, I want you to circle those words. The man gave them his attention. Underline, circle, do something. It's such an important idea that he sees, they notice him, and then he gives his attention back. Perspective again. This guy probably lived his life a lot like the Salvation Army Santa Claus outside of Harris Teeter. You know what I'm talking about? Like Christmas time, that dude's sitting out there with his bucket, and you're like, oh God, no, I can't. Oh my gosh, I only carry a credit card. I don't even have coins. Like, you're like, it's just like you avoid him like the plague. You know what I mean? Like, that dude gets ignored for his entire 12-hour shift. Like, that's all he does. Like, hey, I'm Santa Claus. Ding, 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 ding. And you're like, oh no. Right? That's this dude's reality. That's the life he's living. Except that's his life every single day, of every single week, of every single month, of every single year. He just sits outside just like hoping for coins and getting ignored by like 90% of the people that pass him by. That's his reality. So this situation where someone looks at him, hey, that's different. Probably weird. Not weird in like an awkward eye contact sort of way, like when you catch the eye of the Salvation Army Santa Claus and you're like, oh no, I feel like I have to give now. Okay, bye. You know, like not that. It just felt different in the sense that like, oh, someone actually does see me. They don't see me and like want to get away from me. They like see me and they're intentionally seeing me. This is where the story gets good. After they look at him, he gives them his attention. And he looked back and he saw that he was valued. Valued for more than just a handful of nickels and dimes, but valued for who he was in his situation. And he had hope again. And then he started expecting something. And this next verse is actually kind of funny. It's like they're just trying to throw you off. It's like Peter sees him and then he says, hey, I don't have any money. Okay, Sneaky Pete, don't you know that our boy needs money or food, right? Like, you know that he needs money or food, right? Like, why you say that for? He asked you for money. He said, hey, do you have any money I can have it? Peter's like, hey, I don't have money or food. Okay, why are you talking to me? But he's saying this because he didn't have any money to give, but our boys posted up behind the bucket, and Peter's like, I don't have any money to put in there, but I see what's behind the bucket. I see what's on the other side of your begging for nickels and dimes. I see the deeper need in you. And so he says in verse 6, Peter says to him, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, walk. And then taking him by the right hand, he helped him up, and instantly the man's feet and ankles became strong. He jumped to his feet and began to walk. And then he went with them into the temple courts, walking and jumping and praising God. The party was on, y'all. Feet and ankles are strong, okay? Like, he is going crazy. He never had those before. Like, your boy, since birth, no legs, feet, ankles, nothing. Just like he's a bucket. Like, that's it. Peter and John, they didn't drop him any money, they didn't drop him any bread, but they gave him the most real thing he needed. Instead of nickels and dimes, they hooked it up with new legs. Seth Haney, where you at? You got that new leg. I know it's metal. Where you at? I love that. They didn't just give him nickels and dimes or change. They did better. They grabbed him by the hand, pulled him up, and suddenly he was standing on a brand new, fresh set of muscular, capable, powerful, sexy legs. I don't know. Maybe. But this guy, he'd come to the same spot every day. Sit with his bucket, collect some coins. All right, come on. He wasn't ever asking anybody for legs. He never even probably thought about, like, hey, I should probably ask for new legs. That's what I should do. Nickels and dimes, no, I'll just, legs. Like, no. He couldn't ask anybody for new legs. He probably never even thought walking was a possibility. He was like helplessly hoping for nickels and dimes. Helplessly hoping for someone to just drop some stuff in. He wasn't thinking about the one need that would solve all the other needs. See, new legs meant he had a chance to work. Having a chance to work meant that he had a chance to make money. Having a chance to make money meant that he had a chance to buy food. Having a chance to buy food meant he could live. He could live without the support of other people, like just throwing nickels and dimes into his bucket. His biggest need, this new set of legs that he just got, it wasn't something that he could produce. It wasn't something that he could like muster up or work out. Like, it wasn't even something that he felt like he could ask for. And yet, his expectations, hey, can you give me some money? They were blown away. Because this man went from nickels and dimes to brand new legs. Infinitely more than he could ever ask or imagine. And I think we can learn like so much from this guy's story. I think we can learn a lot from it because we tend to be a lot like him. We tend to be a lot like this man. Like we might not see our most important needs in our life, or maybe, just like this guy, we do know our most important needs, but we feel like they're impossible to fix. We feel the things that are broken inside of us, and we feel like it'll never change or it'll never get better. So we just hope for other people to come by, for people to say stuff that are going to make us feel better, for people to do things that'll make us feel better, for people to treat us in a way that we might just like get through the day of feeling all of our pain. We're hoping for other people to drop some nickels and dimes into our bucket so that we can just survive another day. And we lose sight, we don't even think about the biggest need that's inside of us. Maybe we just look for people to drop us a few more likes on Instagram. Maybe we just set ourselves up for people to give us a compliment on our hair, or our shirt, or our nails. Maybe we're just like doing whatever we can to make sure the coach tells us we have a great game. Or really, really good practice. All right, maybe we are getting ourselves invited to that one table for lunch that we know will never really invite us, but we're like trying to get there. We're just hoping that when we get there, we get accepted. We really hope that that girl tells us she loves us. We might look to her to tell us she loves us. We want that one guy to keep telling us we look pretty. We want to get invited to that party so bad that when we go, we act stupid out of our minds so that we get invited back. Maybe this one is real for you guys. Maybe we show up to church and we show up to youth group and just hope that being here, singing a few songs, catching that one inspirational verse, maybe that'll just make us feel better to wake up tomorrow. And the whole time, we're holding our bucket and we're not seeing, or maybe we're just totally ignoring the deepest need that's inside of us. And we're just coating it with all these nickels and dimes to help us survive. We're hoping just to make our pain feel a little less painful. Our brokenness feel a little less broken. But we never see the real problem. We never dig deeper to explore the biggest needs of our lives. We just hope all those other things are going to make us feel better. But then Jesus walks up into our lives, a lot like Peter and John did for this man, and he doesn't put anything in our bucket. We're like, Jesus, give me some nickels and dimes, please. And he looks at our bucket, he's like, probably not. He's not dropping us likes. He's not taking us on dates. He's not like inviting us to parties. He's just like, looks past our bucket, and he looks directly at us. He looks straight at us. The way that Peter looks straight at this man. And he sees past the bucket. He sees past our request for nickels and dimes. And he simply says, look at me. Don't look here. Don't look here. Look at me. And as we give Jesus our attention, we slowly stop noticing other people putting stuff in our bucket. And our attention goes straight to him. And as we give our attention to Jesus, he takes our bucket and he throws it to the side and he says, let me help you up. Let me make your feet and your ankles strong so that you don't have to depend on their nickels and dimes. Jesus locks in with us. He picks us up and he moves us to dance and walk and jump and party in freedom from the bucket that we're holding, hoping for everyone else's spare change. And the beauty of it is that he doesn't let us stay there with our bucket. He picks us up and he moves us. He doesn't let us stay crippled and begging for attention from other people or even from himself. He picks us up. Guys, Jesus, he's not coming to distract you from your anxiety with Instagram and TikTok. It's not happening. Like, they're fun to watch. This is great. Don't get me wrong. But he's not coming to distract your life with that. He's not coming to meet your insecurity with other people's compliments or iMessages that say, have a great day. He's not coming into your life and treating your rejection by pushing you to work harder or perform better. He isn't satisfying your need for love with that girl saying she loves you or that guy saying you look pretty. He isn't coming to satisfy your rejection or meet your rejection just giving you nickels and dimes from other people's attention. He's looking straight at you, fully locked in. Because Jesus comes to give you his full attention. Jesus comes to give you his full attention. Locking eyes. Nothing else. He's looking at you on purpose. And he comes to meet your anxiety with the presence of his Holy Spirit within you. The calming peace that comes from knowing his presence. Jesus comes to meet your insecurity with the promise that he's always going to love you and he's never going to leave you. He comes to meet your rejection with the good news that he welcomes you into his kingdom and his family. He comes with a promise of I love you and not just a feeling of it. Jesus, he's looking straight at you. No judgment, no anger, no disappointment, but with compassion, love, kindness, empathy. Seeing you as you're crippled, begging for someone's nickels and dimes, and he's giving you his full attention. And he's simply saying to you, look at me. I see your deepest need. I see your deepest need. Just give me your attention. If you just give me your attention, like that deepest need that you have, it's going to be satisfied. It's going to be fulfilled, and it's going to be far better than you ever imagined. But do you notice him? Like, are we seeing Jesus as he sees us? Have you seen him looking at you? And have you given him your attention? See, when we're staring down at our bucket, we're just noticing what everyone else is putting into it. We're just focused right here, seeing this tiny little world in front of us and just hoping that just something will fill our bucket. All of our attention right here in this tiny little hole that's getting filled with compliments and acceptance from other people and just people liking our outfit and saying we're working hard enough. And then we finally give Jesus our attention. We just don't even see the bucket anymore. And we realize that, man, whatever my tiny little bucket could hold, Jesus has infinitely more than whatever can fit in here. And then we can start to set the bucket down and lock in, giving Jesus our full attention. I want to let you in on a little insider info here. He's been fighting for your attention since you came into the world. There has never been a day where Jesus didn't give you his full attention. He's not up in heaven just thinking like, oh, well, I guess I got to check in on Stacy now and give her my full attention. And while I'm here, I can't check in with Sally. Then I can't check in with Evan. And then now it's like, oh my gosh. Jesus isn't getting confused. He isn't getting divided. He's not giving people bits and pieces or nickels and dimes. He's giving him himself. All of him. Fully attentive to you. Behind your bucket. Seeing your deepest need. Have you ever given him a look? Have you ever given your attention to him? I think we can kind of fall into two categories here. Like, we can either be the person who's like, even right now, you're just like not even looking, you're not even paying attention to what's going on up here. You're just like, okay, let me scroll Insta. Oh, 17 likes, okay. You know, like we're just like looking for all the other attention right now, right? Just like mid-service. It's like, okay, cool. And we just like never really thought about giving Jesus our attention. We're just like always kind of locked in on the little bucket in front of us. But even right now, in a distracted state where you're looking at your own little bucket, Jesus is saying, hey, look, I see you. I love you. I'm fully attentive to what you need. I'm fully attentive to your heart and the way that it hurts and the pain that you feel. And all the things that you're doing to try and get attention and satisfaction for it. It's right here in me, and I just want you to like look back at me. And maybe tonight, like you need to make a choice for the first time where you're like, God, like I haven't been paying attention to you, but I'm ready. Like I'm ready to see you. I know that you're seeing me. I know that you're giving me your attention, and I'm just ready to give mine back to you because I want that kind of life. The kind of life that isn't just stuck, crippled to a bucket, hoping for other people to put something in it. And you need to learn, like you need to see that tonight you can give your attention to him right now. And maybe you're like the crippled beggar, like you've already put the bucket down and you've seen, like you've given your attention to him and you left the bucket for a while and you're like, cool, I'm free, I'm jumping, I'm running, I'm worshiping, I'm praising God in the temple, like you're doing all the things, and then after a while you're like, man, it's hard to work on these legs. Like it's hard to move around the world. Like moving around the world is difficult. I think I'll just like go back to my bucket. This was easier. Yeah, I'll just do this. Like, God, I gave you my attention, but like this is way easier than giving you my attention. So anybody? Like we gave our attention at one point, but slowly we found our way back to the bucket and we just sat down at the gate again. And maybe tonight for you, if you feel like you're that guy, you're that girl, Jesus is like, hey, it's not too late. You can still put down the bucket. Come back. Give me your attention again. Do you remember before? Do you remember the time when you gave me your full attention? Do you remember how your life was different? How it was infinitely better than you hoped or dreamed? And now you're going back to the bucket? No, don't give me your attention. I still see you. I'm still not going anywhere. Guys, the point in this story where this beggar's life changed forever was when he decided to give them his attention. His attention changed his situation. This guy, where he put his attention, changed the rest of his life. Put his life on a whole new path. He was no longer stuck to a bucket at the gate of the temple. He was free to run and jump and work and earn money and buy food and live. He was free to live because of where he gave his attention. The same is true for us. The same is true for you. Right now, in this moment, tonight, Jesus gives you, he is giving you his full attention. He stopped to look at you. Individual you, not collective group, Elevate Weekend you, but you, individually, where you are, in your seat. He stopped to look at you. He's inviting you. Look at me. I see your deepest need. Just give me your attention. And let me show you the infinitely more that I have for your life. Tonight, Jesus is offering you infinitely more than you could ever want or hope for yourself. He's inviting you to stop looking for change in your bucket, and he's inviting you to give your attention to him, to give it all, to lock eyes, to lock in, and give this weekend as a focused time for your heart to connect with him, for him to show you that I have far more than you could ever imagine.